How's it going, everyone? So we're gonna go over the state of early access update that GGG, or the people who made Path of Exile 2, released. We're now 10 weeks into early access, and what a wild ride it has been. This has been our largest launch ever and certainly broke through our expectations, but we are well into Path of Exile 2's first launch now. So it's time to take a look at what we have done so far, what remains to solve, and what we're going to do next. Since launch, we've released 8 patches, 31 hotfixes, each containing its various improvements, bug fixes, and of course, incremental improvements to sound, art, effects, and environments. The changes we have been making fall into a few categories. I just want to go over that. A lot of people complain about on-death effects and not being able to see or knowing that an effect is going to happen, or if you have like a poison build, you don't really see anything on the ground because the poison is there covering, so you miss something. And especially if you're playing hardcore, or if you just far through a map and then you accidentally die because you don't see an animation or artwork or something that's supposed to visually tell you that's happening. So I think they had to fix that. Since launch, it's quality of life. I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm just going to give my pointers, stuff that I think that could help them improve. Since launch, there have been many things that players have found annoying or time consuming, so we have been trying to address them one by one. 2 of the big ones have the ability to teleport around the map with checkpoints and override items and sockets, but there are a lot smaller ones as well. So I'm going to go over this one. I think checkpoints are a good thing. I played Raven's Watch over the weekend, and there was a teleport system in that game. It's kind of similar to Path of Exile 2, where you run across the map, this big map, and you find these like waypoints. And once you touch near them, just like a checkpoint in Path of Exile 2, you unlock that waypoint. But the difference is, and what I think that Path of Exile 2 should implement, is instead of having to go to a waypoint or to a checkpoint to teleport to another teleport, at least have a feature where wherever you are in the map, that you are able to teleport to a checkpoint that you want to go to, instead of having to walk all the way into another checkpoint and then going to another checkpoint that happens to be closer where you need to go. Because sometimes there's not enough checkpoints on the map. I don't know if just adding more and more is going to fix the issue, but sometimes there's like 1, 2, maybe 4 on a huge map, and sometimes you're way out and you haven't found a checkpoint in a while. You're like, oh, I gotta retrace this. I'm not doing anything. I'm not killing anything. And I could have just fast traveled to a checkpoint quicker. So you're just wasting that time, and the engagement is not there. You're not fighting anything. I would say they should implement a system where you could just pull up your mini map and able to click on a checkpoint and just fast travel there without having to just go a checkpoint physically. Like I said, if you guys ever played Raven's Watch, you just pull up your mini map and you just click, like if you want to go to the cellar, or you want to go to like the merchant, or if you want to go to anywhere else on the map that is a waypoint that is close to where you want to explore next. I think Raven's Watch does that well, and I don't see why GGG or Path of Exile 2 can't implement that system, because I love that system in Raven's Watch. So if you guys ever played that, then you know what I mean. Just anywhere, you could just teleport anywhere on the map to like the nearest waypoint. And I think they could do that on Path of Exile 2. It'll make things quicker, for you could just get into action much quicker instead of having to run back, especially if you don't have that much movement speed on boots or just in your class in general. So I think that's one thing that they should do. Let me know what you guys think, if that's a good idea, or maybe you have a better one. I don't know. I think Raven's Watch does it perfectly because it's so seamless on how it happens. So they'll have to probably change the UI a little bit, or maybe bring up another map, but we'll see. That's one thing. Checkpoints are cool. I like how they had that system, but I think they could take a little bit more, take it to like one more step, so you could like teleport wherever you are on the map to a checkpoint that you discovered already. I think it'll just be a chef's kiss, and that's all they have to do to touch it again. Improving core experience of mapping. This is like endgame stuff. The endgame is one of the hardest areas to test in an online game. It takes quite a lot of play to get to the point where you can form an opinion on what is good and what is bad. So having such a large number of players to get the end game has been incredibly valuable. To start with, we improved the rewards at endgame substantially by buffing drops from rare monsters and decreased the difficulty at the start of endgame. Yeah, I heard about that. When the game first launched, endgame, the difficulty spiked so much. After you beat the campaign, people were like, all right, I'll probably just ease into endgame, but like difficulty spike was so extreme that maybe a lot of people just had to respec or make new builds or even make a new character. just based because they couldn't kill or like survive enough in Endgame even after they finished the campaign in like Cruel Act 3. They couldn't sustain. Let's go itemization improvements. Existing unique items got a lot of improvements. We built a very large number of them to make them much more exciting to find for low level characters, but we do need a lot more build defining uniques going forward. I think so. I know there's a few that I have not found yet, the uniques that if you combine them together could really like amp up your build to the max. I had one chest piece I was using that if you really stack into strength, you just get 1% more attack damage per projectile. So if you're like stacking and stacking and stacking strength, you're gonna get some pretty good damage output with that chest piece. So that's pretty cool that you could really find a unique that you like, or you happen to find a unique that could really change things for your build or maybe for future builds. So that's pretty cool that they really want to focus on that, because I think that would just lead more to what kind of build that you can have, and the possibilities of builds in the future will just grow and grow. We made a lot of changes to monsters and bosses to fix one shots, improving telegraphing, buffed minimum item drops, to name a few. Yeah, I heard a lot of people were getting pissed off with the one shots. In late game, there's especially just having the improved telegraphing, actually knowing when an attack's gonna happen. But I think the main issue I have sometimes, especially with like a ranged character, sometimes you don't see the attack coming because the bosses happens to be off screen. Like you're dodging things on the ground, dodging AoEs or dodging attacks. You don't see what the boss is like doing, his actions. So you can't really telegraph it because he's off screen. And next thing you know, boom, you're hit with a huge attack. You might die. You might have like 3% health or something like that. So I think another improvement they should do is bring up the camera on certain bosses, or having the ability, if you want to bring up the camera on boss fights. I'm not saying you have to have it the whole game, or if they want to have that option, but for certain bosses, they should pull back on the camera so you can actually see the boss. Because not a lot of these bosses have a huge arena where you fight them. They're kind of confined. Having just a pullback on it, that issue disappeared. Being able to telegraph better and actually seeing the boss, especially for ranged characters. They said we fixed crash issues and performance issues, which is nice. I did see improvements there. Let's go over the biggest problems. So what are the biggest problems we see with Path of Exile 2 right now? Well, other than crashes, these are the biggest issues we think we can't solve without major updates. Major balance issue with many player skills, builds both too high and too low, meaning I think the too low will probably be aimed towards like the melee characters, especially the warrior, because I don't know, I feel like the ranged characters are far superior in a way with like damage output, consistent and fast damage output, like casters and range characters. I think they're on top of the leaderboard. Like Ranger and Sorcerer are just leading the pack in that realm, and I think all the melee characters are falling behind. I know the Monk is great, but especially the Warrior is falling behind. He definitely needs some loving and buffs, especially with the one hand maces. Not enough character build options, including build defining uniques. Maybe build defining uniques, but I don't think there is not enough build option. I'm not saying they shouldn't like push for more and more, but like I'm playing a rogue that is using a crossbow and using all the skills like a mercenary would do, but having like tendencies as a rogue. So I feel like there's so many build options, but if they want to keep pushing the needle forward and making it more and more, I wouldn't stop them. So if they think they're lacking in that region, I'm not going to hold them back to saying that the balance is off or it's not where they want it to be, because I'm already seeing a bunch of like crazy unique builds that people are coming up with. So if they want to make that easier to do so, hey, so be it, do it. They say endgame progression balance is off. Not enough cool things to find an endgame. I've yet to get to endgame. I'm pushing a character. I made probably 8 or 9 characters in this game. Got them to like at least to Act 3. I'm doing a character right now that you guys seen that I put on the channel that has the crossbow. Like my machine gun is just wrecking through enemies. That's the first character I have got to Cruel Act 3. I'm pushing Endgame. I really want to see what Endgame is all about. I've just been having fun making characters. So that's what you can see with not enough character build options. I made 8 characters so far, all different build types. And there's only 6 classes in the game. So the options are there. And I know there's going to be a lot more because there's going to be an update with more characters, more ascendancies coming. Let's keep going. So there are some things that we expect to improve in 0.20. In addition, we need to make sure that 0.20 has a draw card that will bring back as many players as possible to test changes that we are making. I assume they're going to release Act 4 or release a new character. I think those would probably be the two biggest draw cards. I would say if they do both, at least release one character and a new act, it will get a lot of people back because a lot of people want to see Act 4 and a lot of people want to try out a new character. That'll be 7 characters total. I think a lot of people want to see that. Probably they would go with what? Either like the Huntress or the Druid. I think probably the Druid would bring a lot of people back. We don't have an exact timeline for 0.20, but our overall plan is to release major content updates for Path of Exile 2 every few months. We will announce it as soon as we can. This was on February 6th, so just a few days ago they released this. What do you guys think of the state of Path of Exile 2 right now? Leave it in the comments below and let me know what you guys think of this game. Are you guys having fun time? Are you guys getting a fatigue of the game right now and you just waiting for more content to drop? I've been having fun with this game. I put a little over 200 hours in this game. It's just a blast. I probably push off a bit, try to get to Endgame with my one character, and when Monster Hunter Wilds releases at the end of this month, I'll probably go full into that game and just experience that. I've been put 200 hours in this game in 2 months, so I put my time in. I've experienced a lot of this game, not much of Endgame, as I told you guys before. Just enjoying building and trying out new classes and trying out new builds has been a blast for me, which I've never done in an ARPG before. So I'm loving that freedom to do so. That's all I got to say. So let me know what you guys think. Take it easy. Stay risen. Stay rising. Make sure you give a like. Make sure you subscribe. I appreciate your soul so much. Thank you for all the love. You guys are making this journey amazing for me. I'm going to keep pushing out content for you all. Also, I think I'll be getting an email about Elden Ring Dark Reign tomorrow to see, because I got into the early playtest. So maybe I'll be streaming that game this weekend. We shall see. Love you guys to pieces. Stay risen, stay rising. Until next time. Peace. Oh, yeah.